Welcome to Cap Chat. I'm your host, Josh Tyler. I'm the National College Advisory Program Director for Rush Soccer. In this episode, we have Mira Novak, who's the head women's soccer coach at the University of Massachusetts-Lowell. Today's episode is brought to you by Magoosh. It is Rush's official online SAT and ACT prep classes. You can sign up at rushcollege.com and get an exclusive Rush discount to start your ACT and SAT prep classes now. Good morning, Mira. Thanks for joining us today, man. How are you doing?
Very good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Fantastic. Always good to chat with quality coaches, and so I really appreciate you taking the time to get started here, and we kind of chat about Division I soccer, and so now, how long have you been at UMASS-Lowell?
Okay, so at UMASS-Lowell, I just completed my third season. The first season I joined in as an assistant, which was a complete overhaul of the program. The head coach that I worked with, he left after a year into the project, so kind of got into position to get bumped up. So had 2 seasons as head coach. Loving my time at UMASS-Lowell. There's so much potential with the school and everything we're doing right now. So it's been great 3 years.
Man, that's and so how long does it take? So you talked about the head coach came in and left. How long does it kind of take to get a Division I program to be yours, if that makes sense?
Yeah, I think it does take a few years. It definitely, with the recruiting realities of Division I and recruiting so far ahead, to put your stamp on the program, I think it's definitely at least 2-3 years in advance. I think we came to the program that had a lot of senior players, and we had to recruit very early on high quality student athletes. So my first year as a head coach, basically using the players that we recruited the year before, we were starting my first year as a head coach. We're starting 6 or 7 freshmen that year. So it definitely takes the time to get into that cycle that you're recruiting the players that kind of reflect your values and your qualities and put your stamp on the program. It does take 2-3 years at least.
Yeah, well, good for the freshmen that got to start though. That's a heck of a deal for them. So, and you mentioned the recruitment. So, what are some of the new, I guess the big D1 recruitment rule changes?
Yeah, I mean it's changing every year really. So we have to be innovative, creative, and we have to keep up with all these rules. I think last one, what happened in April, we passed the recruiting rule that sophomores basically and younger, we cannot contact them. We cannot even take the phone calls. So this year I think it'll be the first real year in effect that we can start talking to these players June 15th. I think we've been talking about it with my staff, how to really go the best way about it, because I think a lot of these Division I targets will be receiving a lot of communication, a lot of calls, a lot of emails, text messages and whatnot on June 15th when the window opens. So I think that's probably one of the most important rules, most important changes when we are in contact period with regards to age.
And you say June 15th. Is that June 15th going into their junior year?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So the current sophomores, I think a lot of players are finishing their sophomore year, in June. So it will be probably a busy period for them before their junior year. June 15th is the contact period. We can initiate phone calls both ways. And August 1st is the date when we can get them on campus for visits. So I think that period between June 15 and August 1st is kind of a funny one because you can talk to each other. You can host them on campus for a visit.
Interesting. Okay. And so because if they go to, say, an ID camp, if they exact camp or college exposure camp, are you allowed to talk to them at that point if you're at a camp prior to June 15th?
It is my understanding that prior to June 15th. Okay. I mean, you can coach them. You can have, that's the same thing as when they come to our campus. You can have conversations. It could not be of recruiting nature, though.
Got it. So okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think there's huge benefit now in that window I mentioned, June 15th to August 1st. Because you cannot do the visits, but you can still invite them to come to your campus for clinics, camps, and I think a lot of the Division I prospects will be utilizing that and being able to come on campus in that period and seeing campus without really, coming for a visit.
And so, so you touched on that. That makes doing ID camps even more valuable, because it's really the way that you can at least get to know a player. Not talk recruitment, but you get to know a player, because it is a big commitment you're making to them, and you need to bring in, players that fit you and your team model. So it's good for me. That seems right now for Division I prospects to go to ID camps as much as possible.
Correct. Yeah, I think there's this, especially now in this environment, huge benefit in doing the ID clinics on our campus or on any campus. I think it works both ways, because not only do the prospective student athletes get to know the campus, they get to know about us, but we get to know them a little bit closer. Again, as I said, we're very careful with the recruiting conversations, but to me as a coach, when a prospective student athlete shows up on campus to our clinic, it tells me something about their interest levels, because I think, with them being able to talk to them directly now, and you can kind of gain the interest through, the club coaches, it really shows me commitment. If there's somebody consistently showing up to our ID clinics, it shows me that they're probably interested in our school, and we can keep them in our minds in terms of recruitment going forward.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so, what age do you start looking at players, at potential athletes?
I think at Division I level, I think there's still multiple layers. We know that in Power 5 conference, I think we consider mid-major. So, we usually, our recruiting philosophies get to know the sophomores during that year. So right now we're looking at 22 graduates and scouting them to kind of see who we would want to initiate a contact on June 15th, and who we want to kind of maybe make first offers, come August 1st or even June 15th, because you can make verbal offers then. So we're looking at that class. We're not really looking at freshmen yet. And we're still looking even at 2021 class. So the current juniors, our philosophy at UMASS-Lowell is we would rather be more right than more wrong. So that means, rather than getting 8 players and not knowing them all well, we would rather get 6 players that we 100% sure about that, they can stay here for 4 years and they can compete at the right fit.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense, because it kind of used to be, and maybe not for every program, you used to hear a lot of freshmen verbally committing. And so it seems that trend is changing now, at least maybe push back a year.
Yeah, I certainly hope so. I think it's, it goes both ways. If you commit so early, so many things can change in the meantime, in terms of coaching changes and all that kind of stuff. So, again, we want to make sure we invest our time in getting to know the prospective student athletes, making sure they're the right fit, making sure they're coming to us for good reason. Because we want them to be excited to be playing for UMASS-Lowell. We just don't want them to show up just because they had no other offers. We want to make sure it's the right fit both ways, and for them as well. We want to allow them time to get to know us. I think that relationship in the recruiting process is extremely important.
If you have not signed up for Magoo's for your ACT and SAT prep classes, you are missing out on cold, hard cash. Every point you increase equals money in your pocket. With Magoo's, you can study from your phone, tablet, laptop, or desktop at your own pace. Visit rushcollege.com and click on Magoo's for your exclusive Cat Chat discount. Do not keep losing out on money. Visit rushcollege.com today.
And so let's talk about the kind of the grind the schedule of Division I soccer. What's a typical in season week look like, or a day? I mean, how's that look for your athletes?
Yeah, so I think in terms of the different levels of the NCAA Division 1, 2, 3, we have the most contact hours per year. So that means we can invest a little bit more in terms of training, even spring right now. Our kids came back this week and we're training already. So it's definitely not for everybody. I think a lot of players have the wrong perception of, I'll give it a try and see how it goes. But if you don't truly love it, there's a lot that goes into not just training, but the video, the prep work. I think most of our players, they're in the building at least an hour before training starts, getting their prep work done in the training room, strength conditioning and all that kind of stuff. So the kids that love it, truly love it, they thrive in it. The kids, they're kind of 50-50. I think it can become very hard. It can become a daily grind, as you described it.
And I think the key word you brought up, is you got to love it. It is, I think anyone who's played high level, or I think any level collegiate soccer is, you look back, I look back at my time and it was tough, but it was the best time I ever had. But like you said, you got to love it. And if you're wishy-washy about it, that probably holds true for anywhere. Now, in you kind of talk about contact hours but I think one of the, I hate to say flaws in the NCAA system, but one of the concerns is that you have almost 200 days of non-athletic contact. So if you take a summer and you have these athletes who aren't self-motivated, they're really, really going to struggle, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's right. And I know we've obviously had conversations about expanding the season. I know the men's side, they're voting in April on the full academic year model, which might come a little bit later for us next year in that cycle. So you're absolutely right. And I think again, we have to look at the development of a player, not just from the perspective when they're in our environment, because a lot of the time when they are not in our environment, it doesn't mean that soccer for them should stop. So finding the right opportunities for them outside of our environment means summer, club playing, or even winter. The kids just came back after 6 weeks being away. So again, if you come after 6 weeks doing nothing and we have to restart from all over again, that sets you back compared to somebody else that's out there that's willing to do the work.
And back to the kind of recruitment question is I get this question quite a bit, is do you non-DA or ECNL, do those kids, a lot of times they feel that they don't have a chance, but do you have non-DA and ECNL kids playing at your school?
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't think it's the competition that creates players. It's one part of the picture, but there's so much more that goes into it. It's coaching, it's environment, it's proximity to facilities, training. So there's just a million things that go into creating a player, and I don't think any player is created equally. So it's definitely one part of the picture. I think we have players from wide range of it's wide spectrum of levels, NPL, ECNL, DA as well, obviously. So I don't think the level matters. What matters is the player, and I think a lot of players, they kind of look at it as well. Hey, I'm playing on a good team, so I have certain value because my teammate is going to all these schools. But again, we're not recruiting a team; we're recruiting that particular player. So we look at every single player individually.
Do you find players, or players finding you? If that question makes sense.
Yeah, it does. I think it goes both ways. And when I look at the players that we've had in the program, the path for every single one of them is a little bit different. So it goes from anything, us going out, watching players, identifying players, and then kind of recruiting them. It goes for players coming to us, and I think again mentioned the ID clinics on our campus, or any third-party clinics as well. It goes from contacts, people recommending players. So definitely variety of pathways how to get to this level.
How many emails are you getting in a typical week from players?
Yeah, way too many. Way too many. And I feel bad. I know when I started, I felt like I can answer every single email and appreciate the effort and time that the players and the parents are putting into it. Unfortunately, it's impossible for me to be able to do my job. It's impossible. I'm, ballpark, be anything between 500,000 emails a week. I remember when I was actually last week flying to the convention, I cleared my inbox before I got on the plane, and I got off the plane after, I don't think it was even 2 hours, and I had 100 emails sitting in my inbox. So it can be definitely busy. So
how does then? So if you're giving advice to a player, how does a player get your attention? I mean, if emails get lost, is it repetitive emails? Is it call? I mean, how does that? Yeah.
Again, a variety of things. The best thing, if you want to show you're interested, and I know obviously money is the factor, just getting to the ID clinics, because we are there. We can have the interaction. We'll get to see you. I would lie to you that if I said that I open every single email, I'll look at the video or the clip that is included in the email. We aim to do it with our staff, and we have procedures for that. But to be honest with you, it's, what you mentioned, repetitiveness. All right. So getting the emails, because I see if I'm getting the 15th email from the same player, shows they're interested, but coming to the clinics, if we're in contact period, getting on a phone call, we're always happy to, pick up the call and talk for 10, 15 minutes. Okay. So, again, a variety, but the chances are if you're persistent that, at some point we'll open that email, respond to the email, we'll watch a video and get to talk.
So you're telling kids just to bother the crap out of you and hope for the.
Yeah, don't want to put it that way, but
no, I know.
But again, if it's one email before we go to a tournament and the kids are playing in the tournament, and I know after the tournament can be a busy period for the players as well, receiving all these emails from the coaches. But again, I'm a big fan that, the clinics and camps are a big part of the experience, because the interaction goes both ways.
I want to ask, this is an opinion question. Is so one of the things that we tell Rush players is if you're going to a showcase, and so I'm going to use just a random showcase, a player showcase in Vegas, and you're listed to go, we're recommending to send at least 3 emails in advance to say, hey, when the schedule comes out, I'll give it to you. And then the schedule comes out, you send them the schedule. And then like a couple of days before, they're going to say, hey, coach, have safe travels. Here's my schedule. And just in hopes of maybe that third email, maybe get a chance to catch your attention. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, definitely. I think from what you're describing from your side, it's kind of subliminal messaging, right? Because I'm seeing the name, the email, and I know when I'm watching the kid that that's somebody that's reached out, somebody that seems interested. It's beyond our means to go and watch every single player for a meaningful period of time that reached out to us before the showcase. Before any showcase, it can be anything between 100, 200 players. So it is really beyond our means to go and give everybody a good amount of time of scouting and making sure that we see them. And sometimes I understand it's not fair when you show up and, it's last, 20 minutes of that first half or second half, and, maybe super hot and player is tired and they don't show well in that 20 minutes. And we look at it as college coaches and we say, well, she's not good enough, but it might be just that little snapshot. So I would definitely encourage players, if, you don't get what you're hoping for in terms of attention after the tournaments, don't just shut down on that school. It might mean that, that maybe the coach needs a little bit greater sample size of watching you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, awesome. Man, I really appreciate you taking the time. I could probably sit and chat with you for hours and hours, and but we got to cut it short eventually. But no, so I really appreciate the time and the advice you're giving. I think it's invaluable to our Rush players and anyone listening. So I really appreciate the time. Good luck this. How's your spring season looking? You guys, how many games you guys have?
Yeah, we have 5 games. We have an international team coming in as well, so 6 games, and we'll use it as an opportunity to develop our players further, maybe try a few new things. So I love the spring season just because the focus is really on development. It's not just games every 3 days. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We've already started, and I love the team. It's so much energy, so much great enthusiasm. So I look forward to what the spring season brings.
Okay, well, awesome, and good luck this spring, good luck this fall, and good luck as you're kind of rebuilding the program up there. So thank you so much, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you, and good luck to you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for watching on the Rush YouTube channel. We have one important message from Jackson Tyler.
Make sure you like and subscribe to this YouTube channel right now.
Did you say right now?
Yes.
Where do they like and subscribe? Is it below?
Yes.
So they need to like and subscribe to the Rush's YouTube channel. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Like and subscribe to Rush's YouTube channel because Jackson Tyler says so.